Well, hello, everybody, and happy Monday. And I mean that for real because it is President's Day and we are all at home. So it is a very happy Monday indeed. And thank goodness we're all home because I'm going to try to show you all. You can tell outside that the chimneys are on full blast, and that's a great indication that it is very, very cold outside. So, what a gift that we do not have to venture out into the cold today. Anyway, I hope you are all staying warm, and I certainly am. And you know what warms my heart is reading My Family Divided. So we're going to go ahead and get right into chapter 16. Chapter 16 Turnabout. It's hard to predict how deeply people can affect us. We exchange BFF bracelets with friends, love notes with crushes, laughter and tears with family. If even one of those people has a lasting impact on us, we're fortunate. Lorraine was one person whose impact I never saw coming. I met her shortly before the roof incident. The self harm is what led me to her doorstep. I did most of it in private, but David noticed. Our relationship was rocky, but he did his best to pull me from my crisis. You need to see someone, he would say. I'd grimace thinking, yeah, right, bro. Finally, I agreed. One evening, when I was particularly despairing, I Googled low cost clinics in Boston. Near the top of the results was the name of a center in my area. I called and made an appointment. The next day, I showed up at the clinic and plopped down in the waiting room. Next to me was this young Asian dude who was on his phone. Across from us sat a blonde woman flipping through magazines. They both looked normal and cool. Maybe I wasn't a freak for coming here after all. Seconds later, a Latino woman stepped out of a swinging door. She was around 5'3", probably in her mid 40s, and rocking cute skinny jeans and a fitted blazer. Ringlets of short black hair framed her round face perfectly. She had on a pair of stylish glasses. Nice, I thought. This might work. I'm Lorraine, she said. Her eyes were bright, her expression warm. She seemed cordial, not that phony kind of friendly. You must be Diane, she said. I followed her back through the swinging door and down a long hall to a corner office. All right, we're going to go ahead and answer the first question. Why is Diane initially hesitant to seek therapy? You'll find clues to this question um, right here. Maybe I wasn't a freak after all for coming here. And also the fact that she says, yeah, right, bro, when David asks her to seek help. That's a pretty good indication. So these aren't going to directly help you, these clues, but they're going to give you sort of an idea of why she doesn't want to seek therapy. You can also use a sentence starter. You can say, she is hesitant to seek therapy because blank. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next question. So, what brings you in today? I cleared my throat and sat up. Well, I replied, things have been tough lately. I glanced down at the rows of fresh cut marks on my brown skin. She looked too. What's been happening, hon? She asked. I've been cutting, I told her. Before I could continue, tears tumbled from my lids. It was the first time I'd heard myself say those words out loud. Lorraine didn't appear to be offended or surprised by what I had told her. In fact, she scooted closer to me. Why do you think you cut yourself, Diane? She asked. I don't know, I sniffed. I guess it feels better than all the other stuff I feel. What other stuff is that? Just everything, I said. And right there, in a flood of emotion, the whole ugly mess of the past 6 years came spilling out. The afternoon I returned to an empty house, visiting Mommy and Poppy in jail. How frightened I'd been in the months following my parents' deportation. The stress I was under to take care of myself while keeping up with school. The debt I was paying off. Missing Mommy and Poppy. and feeling guilty for avoiding them. The big responsibility I felt as their only hope for returning to America. Lorraine sat back in her chair. Diane, what you're feeling makes so much sense, she said. When your mother and father were taken from you, you were forced to become your own parent. That's an enormous load that no 14-year-old child should have to carry. It's time for you to put down that burden. She then stood, gently pulled me up to my feet, and hugged me more tightly than I've ever been hugged. By the end of our meeting, I felt stunned by how much I had revealed. It had been so long since I'd opened up that much to anyone. You're going to be okay, Lorraine reassured me as I left. We'll get through this. I'd love to tell you that our session was enough to immediately straighten things out for me. Lorraine couldn't wave some magic wand and poof, make everything go away. But she clearly cared what happened to me, and knowing that someone was right there to talk gave me hope. All right, we're going to go ahead and answer the next question. What surprised Diane about her session with Lorraine? You'll find the clues you're looking for in this paragraph right here. By the end of our meeting, I felt stunned by how much I had revealed. It had been so long since I opened up that much to anyone. And you can use a sentence starter. You can say, Diane was surprised because blank. All right, let's go ahead and continue. In another session, I admitted to Lorraine through tears that I tried to end my life that cold night in December. I hadn't told anyone what happened, not even David. The night on the roof was not about getting attention. It was a quiet moment between God and me when I had to decide whether I would go on. Lorraine looked thoughtful, then gave me some tough love. Diane, we'll need to focus heavily on behavior changes because I do believe that you can change. Yeah, right, I thought. But a small part of me, little Diane, who had big dreams, hoped that she was right. In the summer of 2008, I graduated college. The depression I was still struggling through made it difficult for me to even feel proud of this accomplishment. There I was, out in the real world, having received the education my parents always wanted for me. But I was also in debt from the cost of school, and still unsure of what kind of work I could do to not only pay for my own life, but also pay for my parents to get a lawyer. So I earned fast cash working at a nightclub. The low point of that job was serving gross customers. The high point was hanging out with the other girls who worked there. The doors opened at 10, but the party really began popping off at 11. I threw back drinks to maintain my energy. A not so great habit for someone who'd been struggled with drinking and partying over the past few years. But drinking was how I kept myself from noticing how sketchy the whole scene was. I tried to seem upbeat. You could call it my first acting gig, and let me tell you, I was so convincing that I should have earned an Oscar. In my heart, I knew this was a terrible environment for me, but on my face was a glowing smile. During our breaks, I'd crack my coworkers up by singing and dancing, imitating Britney Spears dancing in the video Stronger. Oh, and let me tell you, I hammed it up. I would make my voice high, wildly swinging my hair from left to right, and do these insane moves all over a chair the way she does. They all laughed hysterically. Diane, why aren't you trying to be an actor? My friend Luciana would ask. You could totally be on TV. But I had a different plan. During this time, I enrolled in a paralegal program, thinking that if I became an attorney, I could one day represent my parents' case and others in their situation. To make more money, I also took a part time receptionist position at a law firm. Week after week, I sat there at that desk job, answering phones and filing documents. Real talk, I've never been more bored in my life. The minutes literally dragged by. Okay, let's answer the next question. Does Diane actually like working at a law firm? How do you know? So this might sound like a yes or no question, but I'm going to need more. So if you say yes, if you say no, I'm going to need to see some reasons. You'll find clues to this question in this paragraph right here. To make more money, I also took a part time receptionist position at a law firm. Week after week, I sat there at that desk job, answering phones and filing documents. Real talk, I have never been more bored in my life. The minutes literally drag by. If you'd like a sentence starter, you can use Diane either does or does not. You choose which one. Like working at the law firm because blank. All right, so it looks like we have one more question to do and the rest of the chapter, so let's get to it. The year after college was like a juggling act. Between balancing paralegal work, waitressing, and being a receptionist, I was barely sleeping. I've been taking care of myself since the age of 14, and frankly, I was sick of it. With all my heart, I wanted to go back to the days when I felt safe, when the smell of mommy's rice and plantains greeted me at our front door, when the sound of Poppy's laughter made me feel like the most precious girl in the world. But I couldn't go back. The only way out was ahead. Through the nonstop busyness, I still made time to see Lorraine, and I wasn't hurting myself as much. When you have the urge to cut, Lorraine had advised, squeeze some ice in your hand instead. Believe it or not, that worked for me. One session, I vented about my work. I used to think I wanted to be a performer, I explained. I'm now considering law. What made you change your mind? She asked. Career in the performing arts isn't practical for me, I told her. It's too late. If I wanted to be in musical theater, I should have gone to a conservatory. She removed her glasses and placed them in her lap, then looked right at me. My dear, she said, do you think that you're just afraid that if you went after that dream now, you'd fail at it? Is that why you set up these roadblocks for yourself? I squirmed in my chair. What roadblocks? What do you mean? I mean that you get in your own way, whether or not you're aware of it, she explained. I guess so, I said, taking it in. But I'm not even sure I still want to be an entertainer. Really? She said, raising her brows. You light up every time you mention it. I shrugged. I may not be good enough. Entertaining my friends was one thing. Making a living and putting myself out there in front of the world was another matter altogether. I think you're allowing fear to block your greatness, Lorraine said. You've got to change your mindset. She had a point. Fear is what had kept me from applying to a conservatory. Law was the safe option, though, right? Or was it a detour from the route I was too afraid to take? Most of my moves had been based on the fact that I was scared out of my mind. What if I did everything in my power to become a success and bring Mommy and Poppy back here, only to fail miserably at both? What if I pursued an acting career and got booed off the stage? What if people didn't like me? In many ways, I've been avoiding my dreams so I wouldn't have to find out. I'd spent my entire childhood trying to be the good Catholic girl, trying to earn the approval of others, even those who called me horrible names like wetback. Trying not to make the mistakes my brother made, trying to get my parents back in the States, trying to show everyone that I wasn't going to be that kid, the one who fell behind. The fact that I'd last thrown up my hands to the world made me, in my own eyes, a total screw up. But in Lorraine's view, it made me a human being, one who deserved to be here, whether or not I did another thing right. What a revelation. In November 2009, almost 2 years after that night on the roof, I made not one move, but three of them. I quit my job at the club. I enrolled in an acting course at Boston Casting, and I started searching for auditions. All right, so she's following her dreams. Love that for her. Okay, we got one last question. That is, why do you think Diane decided to pursue acting? So you're gonna find what you are looking for in you'll find a couple of clues right here. Um, I guess so, I said, taking it in, but I'm not even sure I still want to be an entertainer. Really? She said, raising her brows. You light up every time you mention it. And then you can also see some clues right here. But in Lorraine's view, it made me a human being, one who deserved to be here, whether or not I did another thing right. What a revelation. You can use a sentence starter. Diane decides to pursue acting because blank. All right, everybody. That chapter was true to its name, Turnabout. So we are kind of seeing a switch in the direction of Diane's life where she is making a commitment to not let fear rule her life, and she has decided to follow her dreams. So I'm really looking forward to the next chapter to see what she ends up doing, what her next moves are. So until then, take care, and I'll see you next time.